Hi and welcome back to the channel, and in this episode let's check out where we are in the 2025 rally season so far. Yes, just take a look at that spectacular scenery and countryside behind me. We are literally on the banks of the Blackwood River in the Shire of Bridgetown, Manjimup, and it is the setting for round 4, yes, round 4 already, of the state rally season with the Karri Rally. Now before we get onto the Karri Rally, we need to take a look back at the rest of the season, because already there's been more than half of it done and I just haven't had time to get a video out. So this is really an all-encompassing of where we are up to in the season so far. Alright, so let's wind things back to the start of the season and the Winvale Stages rally in April. It was very dry and dusty for the round 1 rally sprint in Copley, just out of Bakers Hill. With 33 state cars and 2 Clubman cars, the field was rather compact. We had just one car in the event and we were using it as a shakedown for South Australia. If you haven't watched those videos and on our Group 4 Escort rebuild, then you can check them out in the link above. We'll check out the Clubman results first with only 2 entries, and it was Rob Russell and Liam Turton would take their Toyota Corolla to their first ever win. Carter Smith and Brodie Ayub would come second in their Ford Escort, using the event as shakedown for South Australia. Onto the state championship in the top 3, and it would be Eamon McNabb and Pascal McCarney, who were newcomers to WA in their Ford Fiesta, that would take third. Second outright and first production car went to Tom Lawton and Michael Wood in their Evo 10. Winning the sprint outright was Pete Rullo and Jimmy Marquette in their Skoda Fabia R5. And so, being round 1, the results dictated the championship points. Round 2 of the season would take us into the southwest to Nannup for the largest rally of the year. The Forest Rally is always a round of the Australian Rally Championship, so it encourages a few cars to come over from the eastern states. This year there were also a couple of international entries. Probably heading that list and most well known was Frank Kelly with his baby blue Mark II Escort that brought his car all the way from Ireland to compete. Spanning over 2 days and 180 odd kilometres, the rally is split into 2 heats. Heat 1 would start on Saturday morning and would encompass both the Clubman and the State Championship. This is our 3rd rally in 5 weeks. It has been pretty hectic to say the least. It's only a couple of weeks after the Rally of the Heartland and we're at another event. For us, thankfully, the Forest Rally has been a little bit easier. Within our team, we were running only one car and it was in the Clubman. We had Patrick and Yanar in their first rally together in their Subaru Impreza. The goal was to gain experience with the rally, each other, the roads and the conditions. The latter would be a bit more challenging than I thought on the first few stages. Now I have to say at this point that the results for the Forest Rally were challenging. It's been an ongoing issue for the last couple of years, and it has to do with the way the rally's associated with the ARC. It made it very difficult to find out what was going on within local competition. So let's get onto the Clubman and the quartet of cars that competed. 4th place and first rookies went to Patrick and Yanar. Rob Russell and his co-driver Liam Turton took 3rd place in their Corolla. Second place went to the Wright brothers in their Hyundai XL. And in first place was Lockie White and Kai Rasmussen in the Daihatsu Charade. They were very lucky to get the car to the end of the rally and be awarded the win after they basically dragged one of their rear wheels to the finish. Let's check out the top 5 in the state championship for Heat 1. Keith Hamilton and Dave Humphreys
brought their WRX hatch to 5th place. 4th place and first two-wheel drive went to Glenn Alcorn and Richard Charlson in their Toyota Sprinter. Dylan King and Lee Tierney had got the measure of their Yaris AP4 and came home in a solid 3rd. It was, however, the S13 Sylvia of Nick Box and Caleb Ash that would be the sensation of the heat. They brought their two-wheel drive machine home in 2nd place. Taking the Heat 1 win was Craig Rando and Scott Beckwith. They'd had a Lazarus-like recovery after a heavy roll at Bakers Hill just a few weeks earlier, so it was a great vindication for all the hard work.
Day 2, we're out in the forest getting a chance to have a look at some of the stages and do a bit of spectating. It's something we don't normally get to do. So let's check out how the rally's gone together.
It had rained steadily overnight, and that would lead to slippery conditions on Sunday, which would definitely favour the four-wheel drives. After the high place finishes in Heat 1, with the conditions, the best the two-wheel drive cars of Glenn Alcorn and Nick Box could muster in Heat 2 was 8th and 7th respectively. Across the top 5 on Heat 2, Craig Rando and Scott Beckwith finished 5th in their Yaris. Tim Hiles and Noah Humble brought their hard-driven Subaru Legacy to 4th place. Dylan King and Lee Tierney, if nothing else, were consistent, mirroring their same result from Heat 1. And the top 2 spots will be kept in the family. Father Pete Rullo with Ben Cersei alongside would be 2nd. And taking the Heat win was son Alex Rullo with Steve Glennie calling the notes. This is what greeted us for the Grimwade Stages rally in June. It had been raining heavily in the lead-up, and if the service park looked like this, what on earth did the stages look like? Round 3 of the championship was wet. In comparison to the Forest Rally a few weeks earlier, the Grimwade Stages was very much a sprint. 3 stages run twice for the state championship with a service in between, and 3 stages only for the Clubman with no service. Initially, we were running a 3-car team. Angus and Marion were on their very first rally in WA in the ex-Craig Rando WRX. Patrick and Yana were out to continue their run in the Clubman. And Hugh and Karen were going to make a welcome return in the Clubman in their VB Commodore. Unfortunately, on the morning of the event, the V8 just refused to start, and that was that. And so, alongside our team, another 31 cars took the sodden start in the early afternoon. We'll start off with the Clubman results, as they ran a shorter event. In 3rd place on this rally was Rob Russell and Liam Turton. They struggled a little with the conditions and constant fogging of the windscreen. Their podium finish, though, certainly helped with their Clubman Series points tally. We're on board here with Patrick and Yanar. The pair had made a huge leap forward from the Forest Rally and were going very well given the conditions. They'd finished the day first Clubman rookies and second outright. And that leads us neatly onto the top spot in the Clubman, and it went to the returning Nigel Anderson with Chris Parrish alongside in their Nissan Sunny. The Clubman competitors were no doubt happy to have finished the rally and get into the warm and dry. The same couldn't be said for the state championship competitors, and if anything, the conditions were deteriorating. In our team, Angus and Marion were having a baptism by fire, or should that be mud? Unfortunately, Marion was suffering with a bit of motion sickness. They battled on to the end of the rally and would actually finish a respectable 14th. Unfortunately, not everyone would finish. On to the outright placings, and in 5th place and first two-wheel drive was Nick Box and Caleb Cash Ash in their Nissan Silvia S13. 4th place went to Tim Hiles and Noah Humble in their Legacy RS. Dylan King and Lee Tierney would take their AP4 Toyota Yaris to 3rd place, maintaining their consistency in the results. Craig Rando and Scott Beckwith would bring their Yaris AP4 to 2nd place. And up front would be Pete Rullo and Ben Searcy taking the win in their Skoda Fabia R5.
Let's go! Woo! Go, 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 go! Good job, let's go, let's go!
Over the halfway point, and the championship moved further south to Manjimup. The state championship format would be slightly different, with stages on Friday night and Saturday, whereas the Clubman would only run the latter. Within our team, Hugh and Karen had planned to get the Commodore out. Unfortunately, the flu season intervened. However, it did allow us to spectate. Friday night kicked off with 3 competitive sections. 2 of those would be super special stages on the Manjimup motocross track, and the third would be a 17-kilometre forest stage, all in the dark. Some teams found some of the corners challenging, and others had mechanical challenges. With only 2 competitors contesting the Clubman at Karri, we'll start there first. Rob Russell and Liam Turton took their Corolla to 2nd place. With Nige Anderson and Chris Parrish taking their Nissan Sunny to the win. In the outright placings, it would be Dale Faulkner and Riley Griffiths that would finish 5th. Pete Rullo and Jimmy Marquette would finish a little back than usual fare in 4th. Tim Hiles and Noah Humble brought their Legacy RS into 3rd. With Craig Rando and Scott Beckwith finishing a tidy 2nd. With a commanding lead of over 2.5 minutes, Dylan King and Lee Tierney took their first win of the season.
So that's how we are with the season so far. It has been, pretty busy, certainly for us at least anyway. And our preparations are well underway for the next rally, which is only about 2 or 3 weeks away, I think, which is the Warren River Rally down in Pemberton. It's a new event. Nobody has rallied down there on gravel before, so it'll be a new one for all of us. And maybe we'll get a video out for that one event. If not, it'll be the last 2 of the year. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed our coverage so far of the rally season. Please give us a like. It's important for the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe. And we'll catch you again soon. Cheers.